If you're a startup founder, this is the most important thing you're going to hear this week. The only way to grow products extremely quickly is to find marketing arbitrage that exists currently and exploit that as aggressively as you can. And on today's show, that's what we're talking about. This whole episode is going to be discussing this short form content opportunity that exists for both prosumer, consumer, and B2B apps right now. How the TikTokification of everything is creating this massive opportunity to create top of funnel awareness for brands, and how you can structure and run these campaigns so you can basically pay a $1 CPM rather than a $9 CPM, and how you can structure and run these campaigns to exploit this short form content opportunity that exists right now. And to say this more concretely, what we're going into detail today on is the strategy to structure contests where you basically pay people to clip shorts or videos about your product, and then you pay them on a per CPM basis, per 1,000 views basis. So you go and you allocate, for example, $5,000, and you're paying $1 per 1,000 views that you get. So from that $5,000, you get 5 million views. And the opportunity here, why we're even talking about this today, is on Facebook ads or on TikTok ads, the average CPM right now is around $9. That's what you're going to pay if you go through the platform. So if I can get 1,000 views for $1 rather than $9, where am I going to allocate my money? Of course, it's all going to go to that arbitrage. Today, we're hosting Alex. He's one of the co-founders of this company called Get Paid. He's an expert in this, and he's going to talk through all of the details on how to run a successful campaign. You're going to learn how to structure contests. So you basically have higher payouts for the top 3 people so that it creates this competitiveness within that cohort that's competing. You're going to learn the content formats that they're seeing be really successful for these types of companies that they're working with. And you're also going to learn how to take the best performers from these contests that you run and how to put them on a recurring retainer so that they're constantly working in the background. Basically, this is a way for you to identify the best content creators for your product at scale very quickly and make a lot of impact in that process. The final thing I'll leave you with that you're going to learn today is how when you run campaigns like this, it creates a knock-on effect. Some of these videos will go viral, we'll say 1%, and then naturally other creators are going to see that that video went viral and they're going to do a video about it, but you're not even paying them. And so you can start to see how big of an opportunity this is. And this episode is brought to you by Talent Fiber. Talent Fiber helps you hire the best offshore talent for your marketing. And they're different than these headhunter agencies that go and they find and place somebody and then they bounce and then that person leaves 3 months later, but you paid the company $10,000 to find that person for you. Talent Fiber only gets paid if that employee stays, and they give you the best employee pool because they offer the equivalent of a 401k, all of the other HR benefits that people are looking for in those countries that you're hiring from, which is like a magnet for the best talent. All the employees work your time zones. They're an embedded team member. And personally, they're some of the best staff I've ever worked with. We employ them in all of the companies that I own. Go to talentfiber.com to learn more. You can click the link in the description. With that said, let's get started with today's show. Alex, what's good, man? How you doing?
Doing amazing. How are you?
Great, brother. Dude, so stoked to have you on. I feel like my audience is definitely going to be all over this. I know a bunch of them are trying all this stuff with the AI avatar, but like AI avatar UGC, and you're going to give like a total contrasting view, which is going to be awesome. So quick. So what are you guys working on, just to kind of dive right into it, just to give context to the conversation?
Yeah, so we're working on building like the TikTok shop for digital businesses, even though we work with a lot of e-commerce brands as well. But basically, we wanted to bring over the same principle of, bulk performance-based creators that TikTok shop showed us that changed how e-commerce brands are run overnight. And me being the guy that had been in the tech space, I wanted to bring that same model over to apps, to softwares, and other digital businesses. And so we basically built, the app and platform to facilitate that.
I love that, man. So just for context for people on the TikTok shop side, like what is happening there that we've had some, I hosted a guy who runs like an agency that does this on a previous episode. His name's Mike Rama. If you're listening, and you can go listen to that, he goes like into detail, but just to give the audience context, like what is happening there that everybody is freaking out about?
Yeah. So essentially TikTok shop allowed people to bulk hire performance-based creators where they only get paid commission. So meaning it's like, you have hundreds, if not thousands of creators posting about your product without you paying them a dime up front. It's like, if anything, maybe you just sent them a free sample of your product. But now, again, like what we'll dive into is it's even to a point now where you can use AI to have even AR avatars like holding a product now, like without them even having it. And so when you have bulk creators posting about your product, obviously you're going to get a ton and a ton of impressions, way cheaper than you would get if you got if you were spending money on ads. And so it's been a real game changer, the e-commerce brand. And now we're trying to take that same model and bring it into the tech space as well.
Dude, I love this so much. So just for context for people too, like what the arbitrage is here, like if the average CPM on TikTok and like Facebook ads right now is about $9.
Yeah.
And so when you go and you work with these creators, like you can get CPMs at like $1, right? And like, I know we'll get into all the kind of the nitty gritty, like tactical details of this. But just to kind of context orient, like why this is such a massive thing, why everybody's obsessed with it, et cetera. And kind of how like For You page social has totally changed the paradigm with your go-to-market motion. So, but with that said, man, talk to me about like kind of the campaign structures that you're seeing work right now. So, the last time we were chatting, you were telling me about how it's like they almost do like I don't know if it's like a sweepstakes or a winner take all model, or like, hey, here's this purse allotment, and then based off of where you get, competing against everybody else, you get a percentage of that. What are you seeing work right now?
Yeah, so there's basically two different types of campaigns that I'll call it are like intro level, and then we'll talk about like what the real goals of those are. Because again, I'm gonna keep relating this back to how TikTok Shop works, because I think that's kind of like what we're trying to model. So with TikTok Shop, again, you're usually gonna see, you're gonna have, let's say you have 100 people posting about your product on commission only. Of those, this is why it's such a cool model, because your risk is essentially nothing, if anything, just sending them product. A lot of them are going to suck and get very low views or drive basically no conversions. And that's just the nature of anything where, they say 20% of them are going to provide 80% of the results. So in the same way, people will normally start with a performance only campaign of either a straight up CPM deal where they'll set their monthly budget and the CPM that they're willing to pay, or they'll do a competition, which is a little bit different, where that might be like, hey, it's a $5,000 prize pool for a 2-week competition. First place, as in first place meaning the creator that accumulates the most views gets $3,000. Second place gets $1,500, and third place $500. And again, you could spread out that prize pool however you want, whether you want to go to the top 3 only, top 5, 10, 20, however you want to do it. Obviously, they're both very performance based though. Now, the only advantage of the competition, I think it's cool because you get a lot of people trying to compete for the most views. So maybe they're pushing out more, they're more motivated to push out even more videos. But again, it's much more higher risk, higher reward. So I don't think you're going to get many big creators entering in those types of competitions. Whereas with the CPM deal, it's like there's certain companies that even for me personally, like luckily I get to solve some of my own problems. Like I know that I can at least get, over a month, 1 million views. And, if I promote a company that is in my niche. And so if it's even if it's a $2 CPM, they're videos that I'm personally going to make anyways. That's the easiest extra $2,000 of my life. You know what I mean? Where like I would be fine with that.
Totally.
So in the same way, because again, the cool part about this is I'm getting to solve the problem on both sides of the coin, because I'm a creator that does brand deals, but I also own companies that hire creators. So I'm able to solve for the problems on both sides. Whereas like as a creator, like yes, obviously everyone always wants the retainer, everyone wants to get paid a ton of money up front, but on the flip side, the business owner, you want to minimize your risk. The creators often think they're worth a lot more than they are. You have people with 10,000 followers on Instagram saying, oh, I don't do reels for less than $1,000, $2,000. Like I had a guy quote me $5,000 for a story post the other day, and he had less followers than me. So again, it's like creators often think they're worth way more than what they actually are. And so similar model to TikTok Shop, a lot of the companies that are using our platform, they're going to start off with a CPM campaign or a competition, and they're going to see, okay, which of these creators that, let's say 50 of them, 100 of them start posting in that CPM campaign, that competition, which of them are actually good creators. And then they're going to want to bring those creators on retainer, and then you still get your CPM, you still get your bonuses, but you're not going to get that up front because you have to at least prove yourself.
I'm just thinking about how, we do this actually with YouTube influencer outreach, where we basically we'll go scrape 100 YouTubers that are within a category. We reach out to them with a quote for 3 video package plus a 30% affiliate commission. And then we do that cohort of 10. We see which are the best performers, and then 2 to 3 will go on a retainers for a monthly. It's almost that same strategy, but it's basically hey, CPM campaign. you just, of that cohort, who's the best performers and like, basically locked in mentally to this thing. Now let's go and let's negotiate a deal with them and most of these creators, I think that just to say this, the quiet part out loud for people that own businesses that are listening, most of these creators, they're just looking for consistent revenue. So if you can come to them and be like, yo, we're going to put you on a 2K retainer and like, these are the expectations of outcomes, etc. Like they want to do that all day long. So you can go and approach them on that. So why would they, before we even go any further, like what type of results are you seeing? So you do a 5K package, they come into with you do it as a CPM based, like a competition style. Like what are you seeing some of the companies that you're working with, the outcomes that you're getting them?
Yeah, again, we're seeing like on average right now, again, we're super early, so I don't have the most data in the world, but the average CPM that people are paying, and that's decently well received among the creators, is anywhere between $1 to $3. So again, still significantly cheaper than if you were to go spend money on actual, paid advertisements, on totally. Or whatever.
Yeah, 10 to 30% of the cost of what you're normally paying for paid ads on those channels.
Yeah. So in that range, like again, they're decent. They're motivated to go out and make videos. And the results have been pretty crazy from like the early ons that we've done. It's been pretty crazy, and especially once you like. Where it gets like really advantageous, I would say, because again, I like to think about it it's the same way as if you were spending money on meta ads, for example, where it's your initial campaign, it's a lot of testing, right? You're going to put out a brief that's kind of telling them what type of content you want. Maybe you have an idea of what works well already, but most likely you're going to be having creators testing a lot of different content styles for your company. And, there's so many different ways that you can do it now. You have the green screen videos, you have straight up talking head videos, you have the AI avatars, you have slideshows. Like there's so many styles that do well right now for, they really work for all different types of businesses. And so once you find something that really starts to like take off, and you can basically just tell all your creators like, hey, everyone go make videos very similarly to this, that's when the results start to get like super nutty.
Totally. So you're having that cross learning and basically like educating your creators on the best performers so that the whole like community, their whole group like does better. I just want to take a step back real quick. So let's say somebody runs like a 5K campaign just for the audience so they can think about this. At a $3 CPM, like that's what you're paying. That translates into about 1.6 million views on the platform. So that just to understand like the scale of this, like if you're doing a $1 CPM, what that looks like is 5 million views, or 5 million views on the platform. So crazy numbers for 5K. Yeah.
And a lot of these apps are going like crazy viral. So it's like, that's like not even ridiculous at any means, because the way that you're doing it, going into like even a lot of types of videos that they're making, they're very like organically integrated. This is very different than like,
a paid ad where you're having a call to action to click to go do this.
Very.
And that, what does that user journey look like? So they see a video, what happens?
Yeah. So I'll give you an example of like what we're about to do for our own app. So we're going to use our own app to grow our own app. And so we're finding a lot of content creators, UGC creators that make day in the life videos. And all we're having them do is it's almost going to be the exact same video that they would normally make. But at some point during their video, they're going to say, I spend 10 minutes scrolling for brand deals, and just going to show B-roll of them scrolling on our app. They're not even going to mention the name. They're not going to say like, oh, I go to paid to like look for my brand deals. They're just going to be like, yeah, then I spend like, maybe after my morning coffee, I spend 5 minutes looking for brand deals. I apply to some, and then boom, on to the next part of their day. And then, someone's going to comment, what's the app? Or we'll plant a comment that says, what's the app? And then, we can make another video or a comment replying to it that drives the conversions. And so that is what's working extremely well for all types of companies right now too. I also want to preface with that, it's like, this also isn't something that's only for like viral B2C consumer apps. It's like, this works for B2B software.
Yeah, for prosumer, I mean, if you're trying to build like any top of funnel brand awareness, and I think for a lot of people, like how to think about this is like fit it into your marketing mix. So maybe you have very bottom of funnel activities that you're doing that are like more trackable. And then this is, okay, I'm going to put 10K into this. And like you'll be able to see a spike in the branded searches on Google Search Console. And so that's a way that you can quantify like, okay, how much inbound are we actually getting from this every time that we run a campaign? So
Exactly.
Love it. Okay, cool. So mainly working with software companies. Any types of content that you're seeing kind of like be breakout right now for these companies? So you just said one of like, they don't even say the app. They're just scrolling on it with like, here's this way to make money online, right? Like that's like kind of the core idea there. Are there any other content types or like formats that you're seeing be really effective with the clients you guys are working with?
So the naturally integrated videos of any sort of like, it doesn't have to be like a day in the life, but any sort of thing they would regularly do. Again, Cali Eye is always a great example. They're doing 1.8 million a month now, where it's like they'll be doing a regular day in the life. They'll go for a lift. They'll show them eating their food. They quickly scan it. Again, they're not even mentioning that app. They scan the food. They're like, whoa, how did you just scan your food and get the calories? And then they drive conversions. Slideshows have been doing pretty well, especially even a lot of these AI generated slideshows. This is both for e-commerce brands
interesting.
and software companies and apps. You've probably seen them. These are AI generated. It might be something like, my dad was the #1 like neurosurgeon for 10 years. Here's his 5 tips to live a longer and happier life. And now it actually does give it'll give 4 like genuine like good tips that are, again, they're probably chat GPT or whatever. But then the last one, it either promotes them to go to the Amazon listing of some supplement, or tells them to download an app that helps them live a healthier life. Then they're actually selling it.
Totally.
And then also like the ones that like your buddy did that are kind of like funny, goofy like memes that I showed you of like the AI avatars.
Totally.
Making kind of funny videos. I'll use a different example of one where it's like an AI avatar character that's like, here's how I'm making more money than my boss without them knowing. And then like in parentheses, like 34K per month. And then it changes from the AI avatar. It zooms in on like the website of this, whatever he's promoting, and stuff like
Totally.
I mean, again, if you go back and you look at his page, he's getting a ton of views. He's even gained a lot of new followers. I think he's up over 2,000 followers from the last time I checked. So like he's doing really, really well with those.
Totally. Are you so? I mean, traditionally, and again, just to kind of like lay out the landscape of how people used to buy like these creator services. Like how I've done this in the past is you go and approach them and you're like, hey, we'll pay you $900 a month or $1,000 a month. You do a video per day per platform, and then basically you go and you get whatever 10 to 20 different creators, however many you can manage, like mentally from a mental energy standpoint, and then negotiate those deals. So the contrast here is like instead of of that 20K that you're putting out on a monthly basis, you're putting that into this pool. And because people are competing, what you're going to see is that like you can get an even larger amount of basically like views than what you would get previously. Also, probably, I bet the learnings are happening at a faster pace, right? Because it's like we have 200 creators that are trying different formats rather than just like 20 creators that are trying different formats. I'm curious if there's like anything you guys see there or how you think about it.
Yeah, so you kind of hit the nail on the head. One, you are going to get more views. 2, the learning curve is going to be much faster because let's say traditionally it's like you have X marketing budget for creators that you can only go out and distribute that to like maybe one big creator and then like 2 or 3 mid-sized creators and then like a few small creators. It's like you only have the learnings of, let's say, 5 or 6 creators that you're kind of like you have all your money in hoping that one of these creators is a very positive return on investment for you. And not to mention, it's hard to manage. So let's say you had even a bigger budget and you were going to try to start with 20, 30, 40 creators. Like managing that is an incredibly, incredibly difficult process, especially if all 20 to 40 are not good. So again, the idea is you put the money into a pool, you get tons and tons and tons of people to post about it, that you're not managing it. You're just giving them the most detailed brief that you can. You're giving them rules. Hey, maybe you have to use this B-roll. Hey, you have to say this. Don't say this. Here's examples of other videos that have done well for them. Like you give them the most information possible to help them make good videos for you, but you're not doing any management. You're seeing who does well. You're seeing who your killer creators are the same way you would like if you run a brand TikTok shop. And then you invite these people in-house. Then you offer them retainers. Then you offer them bonuses. Then you come up with, different unique costs or benefits for them. Then you even promote them to managing or training other creators under you. Like that's when you start to get into all of that type of stuff, and you're going to get there a lot faster doing it this way.
No, that makes total sense. So I'm curious, like just from an infrastructure standpoint, like what the application does. Like how are you tracking the amount of views that they're getting? Are they submitting the videos? Like, what does that process look like on the creator side? So brand comes in, they designate $5,000. Like, what happens after that?
Yeah. So basically, creators connect their social accounts to our app. So we have TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And so we're pulling all the stats directly from those social media. So it's all updated in real time. And then once they see your listing, they basically make the video and then they submit it. So then you as a brand owner, the only work you have to do is either approve or decline the video. And we did add that because obviously we do not want a creator to blatantly not follow your guidelines, blatantly make a video that shines your brand in a bad light, and have them get paid for that, right? And so you do have to ultimately approve the video before it can be eligible to, get paid out. But then once you do approve it, again, all the views are automatically tracked in your dashboard, and they're also paid out automatically at the end of your competition or campaign duration.
That makes sense. Does your team manage that, or is that like something that basically the user of the software has to do? And then also a quick follow question on that: if like this feels like an AI solution where it's like, yo, we just pulled the caption out of the piece of media and then also the transcript of the TikTok. Like, does it follow these rules? Yes, no, it gets automatically. But anyway, I'm curious that those two things. Yeah.
So right now, the user of the software is the one that has to approve or decline it. We don't want to do that right now for a few reasons. So like, if there's any like risk or like liability on us, in case someone accidentally approved a video that wasn't right, whatever. But two, yes, I agree with you. We are already looking at how we can automate it for them, and doing it in a way that again minimizes like the possibility of like some error happening. But I agree totally. I think there is a way to do it with AI where you can pull the caption or transcribe the video, something along those
totally,
and automatically either approve it or decline it.
Totally. Yeah, that's super fascinating. So we're doing all this stuff right now with like evaluations where we basically like layer multiple evaluations together. This is like for landing cap, but the idea is like, oh, I can make this like cascading filter system that basically like validates whether this thing is good or not, rather than like a one jumbo prompt. It's basically like, is it a yes, no for this question?
Yeah.
Is it a yes, no for this question? Yes, no, and then layer like 15 of those together to finally get the output, or the validation that you're looking for, basically. Dude, I have so many questions around this because it's just like fascinating. Can we like zoom out real quick? Like, why is this happening? Like, why is this like an opportunity for marketing? Like, where does this come from? And like specifically like the For You page piece. Like, I think for a lot of people, they don't understand like that. Hey, I can like good content is good content, and I can just post it and it gets views. Like, followers don't matter. None of that matters.
Yeah.
So can you just talk about like kind of like the theory or the principles behind this of like why this opportunity exists?
Yes, there's a few reasons. So one, you hit the nail on the head. It's like the era that we're in of anyone can blow up at any given point. And I know because it happened to me. Like, I had no followers and all of a sudden I had a video go to 2 million views and added 20,000 followers overnight. And then 100,000 the first 90 days. I went from, so the previous company, I grew it almost entirely from outbound. Cold email, LinkedIn outbound, cold calling. Very effective. It's cool because it's very linear. It's very predictable. Eventually, once you figure out like, hey, if I send 1,000 emails to get one client, it's very logical that if I send 2,000, I'll get 2 clients. It scales very linearly like that. However, from someone that's been in that space for a while, I've personally found, I don't know if you've experienced the same, the performance of outbound is down like at least 50% since 2022.
It's just so much cheaper. I think that's the biggest. Also, I think that's like less of how there's specific products it's really good for, I think still, but like less of how people discover products is happening on, those traditional like outbound motion channels. It's way more like I saw, a random short on LinkedIn that then I got into a link magnet and I got a 3 email niche, nurture like drip. And but anyway, I think like discovery, and it's funny on the SEO side, like this is actually something we're thinking about. Like, I get asked this question constantly, like, hey, like we feel like SEO is, as we know it, is changing because of how the cost of producing content is like going to zero, written content. Where does this end up? And like we're, basically like the thing that's on our forefront or on like that we're focused on is, okay, all discovery is happening on social. What is your TikTok SEO strategy? What is your Instagram SEO strategy, et cetera? So this feels very topical and like related, but anyway, yeah, sorry not to digress too much.
So one, I think the performance of outbound is down significantly. I don't think it's a bad model at all, but I think it's down. And then two, it's like, again, content is so exponential and it's so scalable. Like it's one thing for like, if you're just one person posting content, it's insane. Like I said, I discovered once I grew my brand, I was like, oh my gosh, building a company off of content is 10 times easier than it is from outbound.
Totally.
And then like I said, you find out the content that works and you scale that across tens, if not hundreds of accounts, and you start incorporating performance-based creators. And it's like, again, back to the very beginning of this, now you're getting, traffic for like a third of the cost that you would otherwise. And on top of that, you're building.
And you can quantify this too. I think that's something that people aren't like probably thinking about. Like, yeah, you're paying $1,000 CPM, but like, again, go look at your Search Console data, filter by branded searches, and you're going to see this uptick and be like, cool, we spent $5K. We saw branded searches go up by X amount. Just divide that past each other. And it's like, okay, what's our CPC? Is that cheaper than what we would get on, another like paid ads channel? So I think that, this can be quantified. Everybody's like, oh, it's unquantifiable. I'm like, no, it's just, there's just like this gap. You just got to get a little bit creative in that. So,
yeah. And on top of that, you're often building up own distribution. You own the rights to all the content being created. So you have tons of, new UG ads that you can run. And on top of that, I know you're a big fan of the newsletter and the email list. It's like you can, funnel a lot of this traffic to lead magnets and build an email list or, build up some other ads.
Totally.
Build a community on Discord. And so that's what a lot of people are doing now. All of a sudden they have this giant pool of own distribution that they can use to grow essentially any product in that niche.
Totally. So what's the scale that you're seeing people come in and do this at? I guess like kind of what's the entry level? And then once they have like a bunch of creators on retainer, like how many on retainer, like, any, and I know you guys are super early, so if you don't have this, no worries, but I'm just kind of curious where you see like where it is now and where you expect it to be over the next 12 months.
Yeah. So like right now, people on average are starting with like $3,000 to $5,000 in spend. So again, anticipating like anywhere between like 3 to 5 million at most like views in a month. And these are companies that like, again, they have an idea of like what type of content does decent for them. Where we anticipate this to be is we have companies that want to get up to like $50,000 a month in spend in like the next 3 months. So we're just making sure, and like, they probably have the budget already to do that right now. And we're just making sure that we can get all the creators and make sure everything's super smooth and seamless. So that way they can actually go and get those views. But in my opinion, I think this is where I think companies are going to pretty regularly be, again, taking their spend that they otherwise would have put towards Meta or, towards somewhere else. They're going to start putting them here. And I think they're going to start getting up to like $30,000 to $50,000 a month in spend. And yeah, be taking in like, 30 to 50 million views a month.
Totally. I mean, yeah, you can just do the math right there, right? So I'm when I was talking to my friend who does the TikTok agency stuff, they were really focused on like a big part of the product. Like he was saying, hey, like the product that you promote, it needs to be this like finite thing. When it's like amorphous and there's a bunch of different things that you're trying to communicate about what the product does, it performs way worse, right? So like for the example he gave was like, hey, like when it's something that's literally like showing hair removal on a person, and like that is what it like, it visually is like, it shows what it's doing. That is the best performing type of media. Are there brands like, so say I'm a platform, right, that has like a bunch of different features into it. How would they approach something like this? So that like in my experience with short form, it's like you have to be very specific, like just talking about one of the features or one of the outcomes you can get through this feature. So again, just frame people's minds on like how to think about this, of like extracting the most valuable feature, and that's the only thing that you focus on.
Yeah, you're 100% spot on. Like he's totally right with like that's what you want to do. It's why like products like Cal AI, where you're showing them scanning food.
Yeah, it's one thing,
and it does so well. Like he's spot on with that. So I'll give you an example of like a company that like I make content for. That's like, I guess like a little bit more complex, and it's not like necessarily super viral. So it's create that XYZ. They're a, a text to app platform. You type and it builds you, software or design something. And so the way that I do it is I get naturally integrated into a video that I would already make. So I might make videos like, you want to start a software company, but you don't have an idea. I got you. And then I'll tell them how to get their idea. And they're like, okay, now you know how to build it. Go to create that XYZ. And then we'll show a quick little B-roll of them typing in like a prompt and then like it running the code and then like quickly showing like the little outcome. So we'll do little things like that where again, you're focusing on the one thing, but again, you're also still organically integrating it into your video instead of me just saying like, hey, if you want to like use a text to app builder, go to create that, like that just instantly sounds like an ad. You know what I mean? So it's like you're still like understanding what your their ICP like wants to do and like what their other pain points are, and you're kind of like tying them together and showing it in an organic way. Like that's how we're seeing results with it.
Totally, that makes total sense. So like hook with some type of future that they want to have for themselves, which is like this is how you can make money online, as an example. Talk about the pain points. So like hit like how this is hard to do historically or something like that. Yep. And then offer the product as the hero to that pain point and to get them to that solution like in an easier way. So super simple format. But I mean, I feel like for any company, you could probably figure out an angle to approach this with doing that.
I mean, exactly. Even like another prime example is I've made videos for ListKit. And, ListKits, they're a database, right? It's not some viral like crazy product. But again, it's like, you want to start a software or you have a software, you don't know how to get a customer. Step one, go to ListKit and get an intent-based data list. Like when they rolled out like intent-based data, you can literally find people now that are looking for what you're selling. Again, just show a little B-roll of you making a search instead of ListKit. Like little things like that. You can take things that are B2B softwares that aren't like these crazy viral. And it's like that video still got over 100,000 views on short form. That's why people are like, oh, it's B2B. Like, how can you like go viral? How can you get views? It's like, first off, you don't actually need that many views as long as it's the right people. And two, it's like you really can get a lot of views with almost anything if you actually, again, know what you're doing.
Shit, dude, I never thought about this, that like because it's For You page style content, it's going to find the right person because they're only going to consume it if it's the right type of content for them.
Right.
So like historically, like, I come from the Facebook ads era, right? So it's like I'm doing all this crazy like interest filtering to basically identify the right person. Now it's totally changed where it's like, I can just do like target all of Facebook, have a conversion event. They're going to go find like the cheapest, CPA for me.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking about what you just said. It just made me connect those dots of like, oh, this, like, you no longer have to even think about that. Like if the content is good and it's right for that audience, it's just going to naturally show that to the correct audience for you. Yeah. So like you don't even have to do audience identification. It's just more focus on the content quality. That's so crazy. Dude, I love this, man. Yo, what have I not asked you that I should be talking to you about? Like, what are the things that like I'm not even thinking about, or like you're on the front lines that you guys are thinking about that you feel like is like kind of a new way to approach all of this?
I think we've really hit a lot of it. I think the only other thing that like maybe we haven't talked about too much is like a lot of it's been kind of like around the viral B2C apps. I do think this is like just as big of an opportunity for B2B because again, it's like I find they're very slow to like implement new strategies. Crazy. So it's like
totally
the B2B companies that are the first ones to kind of implement, not even bulk, because the amount of them that are barely even using creators in general is kind of insane. But again, still they can do bulk performance-based creators, like, and again, especially on YouTube for B2B that can just dominate YouTube SEO. Like imagine all of a sudden you have like 50 people that make YouTube videos around cold email start making YouTube videos about ListKit, and now all of a sudden ListKit is going to own YouTube SEO over like Apollo, over like Hunter, all these other tools. Like I think the B2B companies that like really hammer, I mean, again, I think short form, like,
that's where discovery is happening, right? Like to say it a different way, like this is where discovery of things are occurring. And when you get to that scale, like again, like say I have a friend that literally he grew his entire company on the back of YouTube. That's his only distribution channel, right? Like 3 video packaged, 30% affiliate. And like he did that. He took it from 0 to 5 million ARR in like 24 months doing that, right? Yeah. Entirely is his growth mechanism. Why it works is because, again, like when you get those people on retainer and you're like, hey, you want to do a video a month, right? They go and they're doing that video a month for you. Suddenly he has, 150 creators that are doing a video a month. So 150 videos drop about his product that are long form, showing people how to use the product, right? When you take that same idea and translate it over here to short form, it's the same concept, right? Like you could probably, if you get this to scale, you could own an entire category on that platform. And so all of the discovery that's occurring on that platform within that category is your brand. It's associated. It's a part of that process. Could you talk to me about, this made me just think of about this. So you run these campaigns, right? You see that the videos are getting views. So what we see on the YouTube side is like, cool, a video goes viral. Like we have an outlier. And then naturally, 5 to 10 more creators go and they do a clone of that video.
Yeah.
So then we get this like knock-on effect of more. Are you seeing that on the short form side? And what are you seeing there in relationship to that?
It's the exact same thing. I think the perfect example, even because it's just the space that like I know the best, is with like Bolt and Lovable, right? The newer text app builders again, because it's like they just blew up really quickly, and all of a sudden everyone was like, I think even it might have. Did you talk about Bolt with Greg on his podcast?
Yeah. At some point, I mean, we found it like pretty early on, just because a friend sent it to him.
Yeah.
They're actually, I think they're working with them now in some capacity, I believe. Yeah, I mean, again, I think it was just like they were on all overnight. It felt like they were on social and they were on YouTube. It was probably more natural, but I think the same idea was happening here.
Yeah.
Like one viral video happened, which created like 10 more viral videos, which created 100 more viral videos, and it just goes on and on. But
so maybe this is an interesting insight then for the business owners, because I joined like a pretty high level like YouTube coaching program, and basically the entire thesis of the coaching program is you want to use vidIQ's Chrome extension to find giant outlier videos, aka videos that did way better than they usually would in the last 3 months. And so when I was looking for new YouTube videos to make as a creator in the no code software AI space, almost every video in the last 3 months that was a giant outlier was a Bolt video. And so that's why all of a sudden creators in my space started making YouTube videos that were Bolt tutorials, because they knew it would go viral. Because again,
Totally.
the odds of you remaking a viral video and it going viral are honestly pretty high. And so if you can engineer that, then 100%. And again, it is the same on short form. If someone sees, hey, I can go, like I guarantee you a lot of Cal AI's videos are probably like actually organic, or they're like, hey, if they're getting a lot of views promoting this company, like I'll get a lot of views. Or even like, hey, if I know that Cal AI creators are making a lot of money, I want to go be a Cal AI creator. So it's like you're going to get like top creators that way even.
Totally. Yeah. There's like this, like like it basically creates like magnets for the best performers, because also like all of these people are fiends to the algorithm, right? So it's like if they see a trend that's happening, they're going to naturally gravitate there. To piggyback off of that, like hypothetically, it feels like you have the potential with what you're doing to like artificially create these trends within like a category.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen that already? Have you experienced that already? And then if you have or haven't, like, how do you see that? Like, how did that play out previously, or how do you expect this to play out in the future?
So we're kind of getting ready to orchestrate that. So we haven't gone.
I had a feeling that was going to be the answer. So
yeah. So we haven't. We've only onboarded a few brands so far. We have a pretty big wait list of brands to onboard that we've just been slowly, because again, we need to make sure we have enough creators to get people the views that they're depositing their budget for, right? But so basically that's exactly what we're doing. And we're kind of like, especially with our earlier customers, we're kind of planning this stuff with them. So we're almost treating it a little bit more like an agency right now than totally like, I know at the beginning we're like, oh, you kind of like put in your budget, set and forget. It's not managed. It's like, to an extent, that's still what it is, but we're treating it a little bit more like an agency.
You're in the early stages, man. You're hands-on with product. Like that's just how it is.
So we're
like
hands-on
up to
with it.
30 customers or whatever.
We're basically prepping with a few clients right now of like putting together their brief, getting creators ready, because we're in we have the creators in Discord as well. So we're making some new channels, and we're basically getting ready to all of a sudden one day, 20, 50, 100 videos are going out about one product in a category, and kind of trying to orchestrate exactly that, what we're talking about.
I love it, man. That's amazing. Please share the data. I want it all, as you know, and I know my audience, so I'll just like shoulder across it. From a just to understand like pricing too, because I think I know the business owner audience will be curious about this of like how so somebody comes in, they bring 5K, they're going to work with you. Are you guys just taking a commission on top of that, or how do you make money and what does that look like?
Yeah, so we take a percent of the creator's earnings. So we actually don't take anything from the business owner.
Oh, the brands. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Fascinating.
Yeah. So so if you deposit 5K, like the full 5K is like being used, like it's not coming out of there.
That's amazing. I love it, man. So it sounds like creators have been, maybe we treat the last bit of this. I'm like, I know we talked about it previously, like the creator like on-ramp has been kind of the hardest part for you guys. Mm-hmm. I'm curious to learn like, how are you going to use your tool? And then also maybe we can like brainstorm through the other options of like, how do you at scale get creators to come onto the platform, like unrelated to like what you guys are doing. But I don't know if that sounds interesting to you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So one of the things I think is, I think it's really caring about the creators and like genuinely trying to like help them make money and like and get them the best brand deals possible. So we want to get the business owners like the cheapest traffic, but we also want to make sure that our creators are making good money. And so one of the things that we're really trying to emphasize again is obviously they're like sharing it. So that's what we want to be our biggest driver of growth is we want our creators to like have a sense of like loyalty with us. Like we want them to feel like we really care about them because we do. And so we wanted to really emphasize like, hey, if you go out and share this, like everything gets better. Like we'll be able to go get more brands on the platform to give you more opportunities. We'll be able to get you better opportunities. It'll drive the cost up probably a little bit of like what people are willing to pay. But since it will be like a free market and like brands to an extent will be competing on their CPMs of like how they're going to attract people, which I believe is a good thing. And so we have like an incentive for creators to invite other creators, which they get 5% of their earnings in perpetuity for every single creator that they refer. Now, the other thing that we're doing that's kind of interesting that some businesses are actually opting to doing is you're a business owner and you have a list of all your affiliates. You send out a blast to your affiliates and you say, hey, we know you're already an affiliate, you already make, recurring income, whatever. Do you want to also make extra money, extra $2, $3 per 1,000 views by posting videos about us? So it's like, okay, it's cool because, your affiliates get to make extra money by posting videos. Now you have a bunch of your customers making videos about your product. Again, now you're getting, a lot more videos in that category, whether it's on YouTube, it's on TikTok, it's on Instagram. So that's gonna be a really lucrative way that we get a lot more creators as well. It's kind of like there's the two pools, right? There's people that are already existing creators and there's like kind of turning new people into creators.
Fascinating, man. I love that. Something that immediately jumped to mind is like, I know there's a ton of search volume around like content creator jobs or like how to become a full-time content creator.
Yeah.
Quick strategy, I would think for you guys could just be like, I'm looking at the CPC right now and it's like pennies is probably what you can get these clicks for. You could probably target with Google ads, like anybody that's searching content creator jobs and then send them to like join our network and become like a creator basically, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll get the quality that you're looking for, but just like, it's something to throw out there for you guys.
Yeah.
I know there's all these channels. So you should probably talk to, what's his name? Jay Klaus. He runs like the content creator academy or something. I can't remember, but his whole like channel is literally like, how do you like become a full-time content creator? That's like his content. I'll reach out to him and see if we can get you guys intro to have a conversation. Cause I feel like it could be like, oh, this is a, kind of a perfect way to get your feet wet initially is like join a community like this. But anyway, just some random stuff that came to mind. So are you trying to just only do organic as your acquisition strategy? I imagine that turns into a case study for you guys. That's like perfect, right? It's like, are you trying to make money online? This is the easiest way. Join this content creator community.
Yeah. So we're starting off organic. We're going to be, running our own campaign through the platform and paying out a CPM. And like I said, we're going to do, we're going to test out a few different styles as well. Cause like I said, it's like, I see it like if you're any ad budget, there's a lot of testing up front, but I really anticipate that a lot of these like day in the life videos of a content creator are going to do really well, where it's just like their regular day, but at one point like, oh, and then I scroll for brand deals. So we have a few of those that are being made right now that, again, we're going to try to get them all to go out in kind of like a short period of time to kind of like get
burst. Totally.
And then after that, it's like after people sign up, We're giving them media assets. So we give them like a story post template to like add their story with their invite link, like a really good looking story post. And then, we have some email marketing on the back end that's constantly reminding them to invite their friends, to post to their story, to make videos, to join our campaign.
Totally.
And that's kind of like our
yeah. So just running the same play. It's basically an affiliate strategy
Yeah.
and on top of this. So
yeah.
dude, I love it. This is amazing. Thank you for your time and coming on and sharing all your knowledge today. If people want to reach out, where can they find you?
Yeah, either nocode.alex on Instagram, or if you search that, like, you'll find me.
Awesome, cool. We'll include everything in the show notes below as well. And yeah, man, again, please keep me updated on the data.
Yeah.
I want to learn all about it. So
Absolutely, bro. Thank you for having me.
of course, man.